This talk is about human values at the workplace and how we can make spirituality the inner context of our work. There are 5 human values which we can use at the workplace that focus on how we can work in accord with our own spiritual view of life. And these 5 human values are found cross culturally in all spiritual traditions. They are truth, righteousness, peace, love, and non-violence. Once we understand them, we will learn how to identify our spiritual view of life from which we can work and grow in our careers. Once we understand them, we will expand and unfold our natural abilities to express each human value at work. We will also learn how to integrate, say, and do things in accord with our spiritual views of life, and we will be able to make our work an arena for spiritual growth and to apply that growth at work. The themes which will emerge from this talk draw from spiritual texts found throughout the world, such as the Judeo-Christian Bible, the Hindu Bhagavad Gita, the Islamic Quran, and the Buddhist Dhammapada. Satya Sai Baba has this to say about man as a divine spark. If man is valued at his true worth and treated as a divine spark enclosed in the body, then he will rise into new heights of achievement and produce all the necessities of life in profusion. He will not grab or cheat. He will be a good worker, a pure person, and a sincere spiritual aspirant. We hear this in somewhat more secular terms by William George, the chairman of Medtronic Incorporation, which is the world's largest producer of medical electronics. He has this to say when talking about us being spiritual beings. We are all spiritual beings composed of minds, bodies, and a spiritual side. To unleash the whole capability of the individual, mind, body, and spirit, gives enormous power to the organization. It truly empowers members of an organization to devote their entire beings to the ultimate purpose for which the organization exists, which is to serve others. Spirituality helps us give a new perspective to our work by appreciating the gift of various situations, broadening time horizons. It enables people to have no attachment to particular outcomes, to rise above dualities and paradoxes, and to exercise wise, heartful discernment. So why do we talk about human values? It is because human values remind us that they are inherent in our very nature, the human values of truth, righteousness, peace, love, and non-violence. They are the fundamental powers of human life. Truth is recognizing the unchanging essential nature of divinity in oneself and all creation. Righteousness is living in accord with the divinity in oneself and all creation. Peace is dwelling in the bliss of divinity in oneself and all creation. Love is experiencing the oneness of divinity in oneself and all creation. And non-violence is regarding and treating everyone and everything in creation as divinity. The cross-cultural expressions of human values are found across all cultures and societies, though we may have variations and different emphases depending on the society we were born in and the experiences we've had in life. In cross-cultural expressions, truth may be seen as honesty, intuition, discrimination, integrity, knowledge, objectivity, and many more other descriptions which are antonyms and synonyms of truth. Righteousness is often described as conscience, morality, discipline, healthy living, responsibility, trust, and more. Peace is described often as contentment, patience, inner silence, concentration, and self-confidence. Love as friendship, compassion, empathy, devotion, kindness, forgiveness, and more. And non-violence as ethics, harmony, tolerance, broad-mindedness, courage, fairness, and anything else that someone would add or would like to add to these various cross-cultural expressions of truth, righteousness, peace, love, and nonviolence. Individual expressions of human values reflect the attitudes and motivations that underlie each person's unique personality and behavior. What could be some of these individual expressions in the workplace? Truth. A professional would be honest about errors or delays, even if it meant a reprimand. Righteousness. An office worker would do his or her best work, even if no one was watching. Peace. A person in authority would make difficult decisions with a peaceful mind. Love. A person in authority would actively seek a win-win situation, to say maybe complaints. And non-violence. Anyone in the workplace would strive to reduce pollution levels, even if it was not required by law. The benefits of these in the workplace are that truth fosters trust and open and honest communications. Righteousness fosters high quality work and keeping of agreements. Peace fosters creative and wise decisions and a focus on resolving issues rather than blame. Love fosters service based on sincere caring for others' well-being, and non-violence fosters a win-win collaboration with respect for people and the environment. Practicing of the human values at the workplace often involves speaking honestly with employees and customers, speaking openly and caringly rather than behind someone's back, conducting business with fair prices and ethical practices, keeping agreements with all stakeholders, taking responsibility for problems rather than making excuses, practicing equanimity even in crises or loss, seeing oneself as the source of our own emotional reactions rather than the victims of others' behavior, connecting to a higher purpose in life in which you care for and serve others through work, listening generously and compassionately to others rather than being judgmental, and conducting business that is environmentally friendly and finding win-win solutions to problems rather than winning at another's expense. For all this to happen in its practical dimensions, the how is to start doing inner homework. Slowly, by building a supportive community and taking specific actions. In this way, we'll notice how the quality of work life shifts and how we can then continue to build confidence and strength. How do we start by doing our inner homework? A good question to ask oneself is, how can I frequently bring to my awareness my spiritual theme and my individual expressions of human values at work? With whom can I share my spiritual view of life and the individual expressions of the human values in order to receive wise, supportive reflections? And then, what are the actions that I can naturally take when I begin to work with my spiritual theme and the other human values? And how can I be aware of the growth in myself as I learn how to express my spirituality and the human values at work? We hear sayings in the various religious traditions about truth. Buddhism has this to say: him I call a Brahmin who has truth and life for all life. Christianity says the truth shall make you free. Hinduism says, be sincere and truthful. Islam talks about speaking the truth. In Judaism, we hear, they love him who speaks what is right. And in Confucianism or Taoism, he who knows the truth is not equal to him who loves it. About righteousness, Buddhism has this to say: him I call a Brahmin who never asks what life can give, but only what he can give to life. Christianity, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. In Hinduism, give freely and control the senses. Islam says, perform what you promise. And in Judaism, we hear, the righteous man walks in his integrity. Confucianism and Taoism says this: the man of honor thinks of his character. The inferior man thinks of his position. On peace, Buddhism says, him I call a Brahmin who's never angry and is free from the chain of fear. Christianity says, peace be with you. In Hinduism, be fearless and equanimous. Keep your heart free from malice towards anyone, says Islam. A man of understanding is of a calm spirit, we hear in Judaism. And in Taoism, Confucianism, we hear, to a mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. Buddhism talks about love in this way: him I call a Brahmin who has the power of love no army can defeat. Christianity says, love one another. Hinduism, be loving and show goodwill to all. Do you love your Creator? Love your fellow beings first. That's what Islam says. And what is desired in a man is kindness, says Judaism. Taoism and Confucianism says, love the world as yourself, then you can care for all things. On non-violence, we hear Buddhism: him I call a Brahmin who has renounced violence towards all creatures. Christianity says, love your enemies. In Hinduism, we hear, don't harm any living creature and don't slander. Withhold your hand from striking, says Islam. And if you're angry, if your enemy is hungry, Give him bread to eat, says Judaism. Taoism and Confucianism says all men have a mind which cannot bear to see the suffering of others. Divinity is in all and is the basis of these five tenets. Each one of us has a spiritual essence based on the principle that divinity resides in all creation.